All right, joined for the first time this season on SportsCenter with Jay Onrait, brought to you by Harvey's, with the former Kamloops Blazer legend, the former Oiler, the former Ranger, the former Blackhawk, the former Canuck, the former Islander, the former Edmonton Pat, Jason Strudwick. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Good to see you. And don't forget, I mean, I have international hockey experience as well. You know, Spangler Cup silver medalist. I pretty much dragged my team to that illustrious silver medal. So let's tag that on there.
Okay, I apologize, and I'm going to get on our researchers here to really make sure they have the Struddy resume all locked down before I have you on the show. Buddy, it's so great to see you. I love chatting with you. Four Nations face-off. We know Charlie McAvoy's out. Tkachuk brothers will play, but it seems like they're banged up. Austin Matthews will play. It seems like he's banged up. We don't know the Quinn Hughes situation. Bottom line is, Struddy, the Americans are a bit banged up. How are you feeling about their chances on Thursday, knowing all that?
Well, what I was really impressed by when they played the Canadians was how tightly they were able to pack their own middle of the ice in front of their net. You know, just think back to the second and third periods when Canada got down. Canada had quite a bit of Ozo time, but they were kind of just passing around the outside. And that can be a bit misleading at times. You know, you feel like, oh, we're in the offensive zone, but we're really not getting pucks there. You know, they were trying to use their D-men, but those pucks weren't necessarily getting through. So I think one of the challenges for the Canadians will be trying to get to middle of the ice, both with the puck, but also getting bodies there. Because that D, even if McAvoy is unable to play, and let's assume that Quinn Hughes does, they did a really, really good job building a wall around that area. And that's something that, you know, the coaching staff and the players are going to have to figure out. How do we get to the middle of the ice to make life a little more difficult for their netminder, Connor Hellebuyck?
Struddy, I'm going to ask you about something that Brandon Hagel said on Tuesday, but first, what did you think of those fights, 3 fights in 9 seconds on Saturday? What, were you just jumping off the couch?
You know what? I thought in my mind there might be a fight at some point, but not 3. You know, while the crowd is still kind of finding their seats. That was incredible. And I've been in that situation before, you know, the first or second or third fight or whatever. And the adrenaline rush you have is amazing because you're going out there to fight for your team, but you're also fighting for your country. So I have so much respect for, you know, I love what the Tkachuks did. To me, that's great for the game. For guys like Hagel or Bennett coming off the bench to fight, you know, his big brother. And then Parayko, a guy who doesn't fight, but a large man fights. And same with Miller. Like the bonding for your team in those moments, they would have come so close together because if you're fighting, the guys love it. And, you know, if you're watching, you're like, I love that this guy's doing it for us. So it's just a great moment, a nice little kind of legendary mark to put on a tournament that's trying to find some footing in the international place.
Okay, so let me show you this quote from Brandon Hagel on Tuesday, Struddy, about this situation because it's interesting. He says, we don't need to initiate anything. We don't need any group chats going on. We're going out there playing our game, giving it everything, and like I said, doing it for our country. We're just going to play as hard as we can and do it for the flag. If you are the Tkachuk brothers, knowing they've been talking about their group chats and all that, and obviously Hagel's talking about that. If you're the Tkachuk brothers, what do you think about those comments by Hagel?
First off, I love the response or the comments by Hagel. Like, Hagel is a pretty funny guy and a pretty witty, and he'll say what he wants. Like, you know, after the fight, he said, I'm not backing down from that guy. Right. And I love that response. Why should you back down from this guy? But if you're the Tkachuks, like, you want a response. That's what they do. It's a little bit of a circus. Like, they're both really good players, but they create an atmosphere that's, you know, a bit of a circus out there. And, you know, I have a hard time believing that would happen again. The Tkachuks want a response, and they got it. Now, you know, I'm sure some of the Canadians are thinking, well, what are they going to do next game?
Yeah.
What can we? Are they being physical again? Are they going to want to fight? So they've kind of done their jobs. But these guys on the Canadian side, they've been through this. You know, there's so many Stanley Cups on there, guys that have won at different levels and high-level award winners. They understand the moment, and Sidney Crosby's there to make sure that everything, you know, if needed, he can provide that direction.
So, in your mind, Jason Strudwick, the key to a Canadian victory Thursday night is what?
Well, I think they got the lines right. And, you know, I didn't feel comfortable with the lines at the beginning. I think that John Cooper and his coaching staff have got them right now. You know, the fourth line, we know what they kind of bring. The top 2 lines are, you know, there's guys that are playing with Connor McDavid in Stone and Point that really work hard. They have a fourth line mentality with elite hockey sense. And that is what Connor needs around him. That's how, Not that he needs, players to support him, but or to carry him, but they need to support him and understand how they want to play and how he wants to play. So I think that's absolutely huge. But players, the bigger players on that group, they've got to get to middle of the ice. They have to find the middle of the ice in the offensive zone. You know, Connor Hellebuck's going to save a lot of pucks, and if he can see them, it gets really hard to score. So I do think scoring first, and then getting a lead on the Americans, because we've seen they're able to shut it down. They're comfortable playing a bit of a rope a dope, and by doing that, I think it plays into their game. So look for Canada to come up with a big start and own the middle of the ice in front of the USA net.
Okay, we cannot have Jason Strudwick on the show and not talk about the Edmonton Oilers as we head to the trade deadline. So a little later in the show, Struddy will be back. We'll talk Oilers and maybe a little bit about Struddy's international hockey career as well. It was truly spectacular.